Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Shore. Welcome to the 3-1 Group. Each and every episode, the three of us talk about things that are important, we hope, to you, because we know they're important to the three of us. And when I say the three of us, I mean myself, Mike Morgan, Kevin Kolbe, as we try to attack those important elements out there. And the great thing is, and I try to remind you of this many times, is the 3-1 Group means we bring three unique and experienced backgrounds to the table here. And hopefully we help all of you out there as well. And you're helping us in the questions that you give us as well. But this time, we're going to let Mike talk about his expertise. In sales, Mike, what's that one thing that just stands out in your mind that you just have to get?
I think first of all, there are a couple of things about sales. Number one, everyone that's hearing this podcast or watching this video on YouTube is in sales, whether you know it or not. Even if your official title isn't salesperson, you're still in sales. And what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, the ultimate goal of sales is to serve a need that someone else has and will benefit from with your service. And I think that we can all apply that to whatever it is that we do, whether we're an engineer, an office worker, if we work in a construction job. We're all, at the end of the day, serving the greater need of someone else. And great salespeople understand that service is selling. It's not manipulation. It's not trickery. It's serving the need of someone else. And honestly, the way you become the best salesperson you can be is serve the most needs in the best way possible. So there's a lot to unpack behind that. There's a lot of skill that goes into that, a lot of dedication, consistency. But at the end of the day, if you didn't take anything else away from this, this episode about sales, it's that sales is the business of serving the needs of others.
So, and you've been in sales quite a while. I won't date you here. But so is it still fairly the same process, but the tools have changed? I mean, what have you seen that possibly has evolved in the world of sales over the years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing is the mentality of sales has changed. When I started in sales, and I'll date myself, 27 years ago, there wasn't a service-based mentality. It was make the sale, find someone, get them to buy from you, whether they need it or not. I mean, you hope that they need it, but they needed what you were selling. But at the end of the day, if you just made the sale, that was your job. And there was and sales just developed a horrible reputation from that. There've been movies made about it, Boiler Room and The Wolf of Wall Street, and all these things that people, laugh at when they see the movies, or are like, man, that if you watched them today as a young professional, you'd go, that could have never happened. Yeah, really, that's exactly how we sold. What's happened over a period of time is sales has become more of a profession. It's evolved from revenue creation for the sake of creating revenue to solving needs that people have and doing it in an authentic and service-based way that's in the best of interest of the person buying. And what companies have found is if you do that well, you create a sustainable revenue base of people who become fans and want to continue to purchase from you and in fact refer you to other people, versus burning bridges on every sale that you make, which really is a scammer, not a seller.
Mike, let me ask you, because I love the concept that you said, really, basically, we should all consider ourselves to be in sales. Mm-hmm. But from a traditional hiring sense, there are times when you look down on the resume or their background and whether or not they have it or not. Let's say no one has particular sales experience. What's the next most important trait that makes them perfect candidates?
Yeah, I think you got to have several things to be a good salesperson. The first thing that you have to have is confidence in your ability to transfer information. So confidence in communication would be one, core requirement. If you're a good communicator, you have the potential to do well in sales. You've got to have a competitive streak about you as well, internally or externally, ideally both, because in sales, you are competing with other companies who want to sell the same, something to the same person you want to sell to, and only one of you generally is going to win the sale. So you have to have this competitive nature about you. Another super important factor that we don't talk enough about in sales, in the sales world, is you need to be a student of the game. You need to every day wake up with the intention of learning something that you didn't know the day prior. And you can do that through mentors. You can do that through reading books. You can do that through watching videos. But the commonality there is you need to understand that you're never going to know everything there is to know about sales. You're never going to master everything that there is to master in sales. You need to be a student who's constantly working on a daily basis to get just a little bit better. And if you work in that environment, you know, it's going to be hard not to do well.
You know, I think a lot of folks have this fear of being sold to. You know, marketing a lot of times is more just selling something rather than trying to help something. So in a sales world, as you lead your sales team and things like that, how do you get past that? Because I know you're selling something, and whether it's, you know, commission or salary or a combo, but how do you get folks to see that it's more than just making a buck?
Yeah, you start with go back to the idea that everyone in sales should approach sales as a servant. So the servant's mentality is, if I can do something for you that benefits you, it makes your life better, it makes your company more profitable, it helps you in some way, I'm doing a service to you, and I'm of benefit to you. A salesperson shouldn't be trying to solve a need that doesn't exist. So the first thing as a salesperson is you have to have a mutually agreed upon need that would leave the person you're going to sell something to better off than they were before they met you or before they bought from you. So if you use that as the commonality, at the end of the transaction, if they're better off than they were before they bought from you or met you, then you haven't, it's not that you've helped them buy something to help to improve their business or their life. You haven't sold them something. You've facilitated a buying transaction in that case.
One more from me, Mike. Let's suppose that sales is really your main goal, and that's the area that you're in, and that's how you make your profits. Growing up, the techniques and the concepts, Dale Carnegie's book, they seemed much more simple than some of the complex systems now. And my dad spent his entire life in sales. How do you best recommend avoiding burnout and keeping successful at it for many years?
Look, I think that you avoid burnout with again, I'm going to go back to with the servant's mentality and servant's approach to what you're doing. If your mission in life and your purpose and your passion is to solve problems for people that you're able to affect positively, I don't know how you find a point where, okay, I don't want to help people anymore. If you're in the business to make a buck, you're going to burn out. The business is too hard. Sales is complex. It's a tough career. You're rejected all the time. There's just so much that can weigh down on you. But if at the end of the day, it's kind of like a preacher, or it's kind of like, a coach, Coach Krzyzewski, why does he still coach at Duke after all this time? He's won everything there is to win. He's, coached the Olympic team. It's because he has a passion for transforming young men's lives in the space of basketball, right? If you approach your sales career with a passion for solving people's problems better than other people can solve them, you've got a mission that's bigger than yourself, and it's a sustainable mission that I don't think you can ever tire of.
That's great. Yeah, I just love that. I don't have a follow-up question, but I love the idea though of not looking at it as just trying to sell something, but you're trying to help somebody. And to me, that's when, and then if you can make money, then it's even a bigger win for everybody, because then you've helped somebody. And I think that sometimes is what's missed in the current culture, because it's just about sometimes gaming the system, getting one ahead. And we forget that it's, there's an algorithm a lot of times, but we're still talking to people and dealing with people and trying to help people.
Yeah, let me give you an example, because this will really resonate with what I'm saying. So I interviewed a guy recently for my podcast, and he talked about at one point he owned a business. He was a ex-baseball player. He moved to the Triangle area. He started a baseball training company, and he was great at training, future baseball players, but he didn't know anything about business, and he lost his business. And through his next career, he got into sales because he needed to make a living to support himself and his family. and he got into sales selling services to accountants that help small businesses. And his mission became to be the best salesperson for that company, because he wanted people like him, who were the accountant's customers, to benefit from the accountant's services. And he knew if he could help the accountant further their message, spread their message, and be more effective at helping small businesses, he was doing, people just like him who had failed because of a lack of big business acumen, he was doing them a favor. So his mission was beyond his client. It was his client's client
That's
that
huge.
he was passionate about selling to. So, when you get into that space, how can you tire of that mission that you've set for yourself?
Mike, this is fascinating. Thanks so much for sharing. As appreciating sports analogies, I love the Coach K one, because you wonder how they do it for so many years. I spent the last few seasons alongside Bobby Knight of his career, and his most favorite day every year was the first day of practice, opening of training camp. You're 0-0. You got a fresh bunch of guys. It's doing it all over again, no matter how many years, and you got a fresh start, and you got a chance to go out and get a winning record or sales. So thanks so much for sharing that. Kevin, Mike, thank you. Enjoyed that, and this is the first time you've seen us, please hit the subscribe button right down there as well. Check out the rest of our topics, and please make comments and send questions to us as well, because we use those for future episodes as well. So for Mike and Kevin, I'm Dave. Thanks for joining us here on the 3-1 Group.